Hello and good morning. Welcome to another edition of the Daily Tribune Straight Talk. I'm Tina Maralit with Mr. Chito Lazada, Mr. Mario Malyari, and today's episode is going to be very interesting because we have a very interesting guest. Without any further ado, we'd like to introduce to you former Senator Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. Sir.
Thank you, and good morning. Good morning to all those who are listening and watching.
Sir.
Good morning, sir. And first off, kumusta kayo? Anong pinagkakaabalahan nyo during the past few months?
Ganun pa rin. We of course we have been pursuing the protest case, but I have been continuing. I've not really stopped going around the country paikot-ikot. Um, because ang ano naman sa akin, ang trato sa akin ng tao is parang akala nila or at least ang impression nila is that I'm still in
With the
office
government.
in government somehow. So humihingi pa rin ng tulong, nag-invite. So we do whatever we can. Like right now, we are facing this crisis now with the eruption of Taal.
Mm.
Yeah, nag-uumpisa na kami. We already started yesterday. We are starting to pack. No, we ordered from China masks kasi naubusan ng mga tindahan dito, and there's a suspicion that some of the masks are being overpriced.
Overpriced, yes.
So pamimigay namin ito. But as soon as it's possible, we will go there to Taal mismo. Because right now it's premature kasi kung manggugulo lang
more
kami.
on more on rescue pa.
Oo,
operation.
at saka hindi pa naayos lahat ng kalsada. And then, you know, if I go there, hihingi ako ng security, hihingi ako ng kanto, they're busy.
Madi-disrupt lang.
Oh, they're busy. That's one thing I learned in Yolanda. Huwag ka muna manggulo. Let people do their work. So that's what we're doing now. But on our end, we're already starting to prepare. This has been something that I've really continued to do. We have medical missions all around the country. Pagka may gulo ng ganito, may konting disaster, pupunta kami. Tignan namin kung ano yung maitulong namin. And so that's basically what I've still continued. Instead of going to session, that's the only thing that I no longer do. But everything else that I used to do as a senator, or as a governor, as a congressman, I still continue to do.
So okay pa rin. So you mentioned, sir, about the yung electoral protest nyo, which is ongoing right now. Could you update us what's the status right now?
Well, the status is this: is that if those who have been observing this case will remember, late last year, around October, the then justice in charge, Justice Kagiwa, recommended to the PET and bank that my petition should be dismissed. The entire petition should be dismissed on the basis of his subjective assessment of the recount. So we of course we contest this, but in any case it came to a vote, and bank vote, which we won, 11-2. And so what happened after that is that the PET instructed both parties to write comments on the second and the third causes of action. The second cause of action is the recount. The third cause of action is the annulment of elections in the three provinces, in ARM, Maguindanao, Lanao del Sur, and Basilan. And those are the three because we feel we are confident we can show that not a proper election was not held in those areas. This is something that we have been pushing for since the very beginning, but has been pushed back and deferred and delayed. But finally we come to that. So we have been ordered to make a comment on certain questions that were posited by the PET on both causes. We have since submitted that comment, and we are waiting for the PET to instruct us as to what to do next. Yeah.
Okay. So up to this time, sir, how optimistic are you with this regarding this case?
Well, I think by rights, by merit, I am very, very confident because I've seen the evidence. I have come to understand what Smartmatic did in cheating not only the 2016 election, but the 2010 election, the 2013 election. So in those terms, I'm very confident that we will win this. However, the timing is something that I simply cannot predict, and it turns out no one can predict. So I cannot stand by and wait for that result. I have to continue doing what I am doing. The elections are coming up in 22,
2020.
and I have to decide what I'm going to do in those elections. So that ang political cycle sa atin 3 years.
3 years,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
Mabilis.
so 2.5 years before I'm filing for national is October.
6 months before.
Oh, so talagang mabilis lang ang natitirang oras. And so we must move, talk to our allies, see what's the situation especially in the provinces, and see what options we have.
So you said that you have been going around the country.
Sure.
Ano pa yung reception sa inyo ng tao so far?
Kasi sa totoo, ang pakiramdam, mas popular ako ngayon kaysa nung eleksyon. Totoo. Dahil maraming nagsasabi sa akin, hindi kita binoto pero dadaya ka. Hindi tama yung ginawa nila sa'yo.
Galit sila doon sa...
Maraming ganun. Marami akong ganun na naririnig. Oo, sasabihin, hindi kita binoto. Pero hindi kita sinuportahan. Pero yung ginawa sa'yo, hindi tama.
So,
Those are people who did not vote for me. Of course, those who voted for me are still supportive of me. But then we have a group of people, which is a large group of people, who are saying that to me. And everywhere I go, I get that comment. Everywhere I go, I get that comment. So, at least, I think that has always been the Marcos strength. Nasa amin yung tao. Kahit those powers that be, kung sino nakaupo, ayaw sa amin, nasa amin ang tao. And that has always been. Kaya buhay pa kami kasi nasa amin ang tao. Kung hindi, wala na kami. Tapos hindi mo na marinig yung pangalang Marcos.
This turning out as a crusade against cheating in the elections, the credibility of the polls. What you are fighting now.
It's if you think about it, it's just too important to let go. The very basis of everything. It's the foundation of the state. And what we choose to define as a democratic state, the basis is the one man, one vote democratic system. So there are several elements to this that are disturbing. Is that number one? Of course, we cannot allow Venezuelans to come in here and decide for us who will sit as president, who will sit as vice president, who will be senator, who will be governor. How can we allow that? Why did we allow that? Who allowed it? And there are many aspects to it. Bakit nagkaganyan? And hanggang ngayon, itong hindi ko maintindihan. Palagay ko, sa 100 million na Pilipino, 90 million naniniwala na nandaya ang Smartmatic. Ba't nandiyan pa yan?
So sir, you mentioned Smartmatic and President Duterte during his trip to Japan, doon niya unang sinabi na Smartmatic has to go.
Yeah.
So you support that call na...
Well, I've been saying that
Yeah.
since June 28th of 2016. It's very clear. I mean, the technical aspects of it, we have been studying it now for over 3 years, and I have been helping me are all the IT representatives of every single political party in 2016. So we're all working together, and they have figured out exactly what happened with in Smart Money, which is pure cheating. So with the president's declaration, with the proof that has been shown, with all the egregious actions of these Venezuelans from Smartmatic, ba't nandyan pa yan?
Marami rin sir humaharang na kukulangin daw po sa panahon to ano. Maybe there's an underlying interest kaya sa tingin niyo sa mga...
Maybe there's an underlying interest. There has always been an underlying interest. The underlying interest of having Smartmatic there is to fix the elections. That's the reason that they are there. And that is the reason that they have been rejected by many, many constituencies around the world. Many states in the United States have banned Smartmatic. Even Venezuela itself has banned Smartmatic. So, eto naman tayo mga Pilipino, eto pa rin. Sige, sinuntok ka na, nagpasuntok ka ulit. Ba't natin ginagawa yan? Now, to come back to the question, I said, who is the one who promotes this, endorsed all of this? is those people who are still opposing the change away from Smartmatic,
And who are benefiting.
who have benefited that. So if we propose now that Smartmatic be removed and another system be put in place, which by the way is not very hard to do because the technology is really simple. I mean, a high school science student can manage it. If you can see that somebody is opposing that the Smartmatic be removed and another system, a more transparent, a more accountable system be put in place, those are the people who have an interest in keeping Smartmatic because they still lang gamitin. They want to use it.
For their own
For the next election. What's Smartmatic used for? To cheat in the election. Pure and simple. So if you want to have Smartmatic there, your intention is to cheat in the election using Smartmatic. The logic is unassailable.
But the alternative would not be to return to manual.
I think that's an option. I think it's an option. What I've been saying is that we have manual voting, manual counting, and electronic transmission.
So it's hybrid.
Hybrid, and you vote like before. You have the counting like before. You have watchers.
Yes.
Oh. But there's an additional feature. The tech has moved. Live stream it. Live stream it. So
For
I'll
more
sit at home and I can
transparency.
monitor 100 precincts.
Yeah.
Nakaupo lang ako sa bahay, I can monitor 100 precincts. And every time the COMELEC posts a result, I can check precincts. Sabihin mo, the result in precinct 1, 2, 3 in Batac, Ilocos Norte is this. Titignan ko yung resulta sa Batac, Ilocos Norte. Oh, tama naman. O, pag sinabi, in somewhere else is like this. Hindi, nagkamali kayo. You lost a 0 o yung 1 naging 7 or something. Pwede kang tumawag sa COMELEC. I am the election officer here in this precinct. Yung pinost ninyo na numero mali. Oh, kasi itong official resort, itong ER, ito. The tech is there. So there have been proposals of blockchain technology, which is a very, very transparent system. Pero ang problema, yung blockchain technology, when it is being proposed, kaagad. People, because they don't understand.
It's new.
Yes.
It's new.
They don't understand what it is. So immediately there's resistance. But we have to examine all of these options, and we have to do it soon. If we are going to implement them by the
By
2022
So
election.
racing against time.
Live stream can be a good
Live stream,
deterrent rin sa
ang problema lang yung bandwidth.
Yeah.
Kulang tayo sa bandwidth. But I asked also, there is a way to set up a temporary system to provide sufficient bandwidth. You don't have to live stream every single precinct. For example, urban areas, wag na. May watcher yan eh. Yung malalayo.
Malalayo.
Yung malalayo. Yun ang mas mahirap. That's why. But the technology exists, so let's use it.
Take advantage.
Moving on, sir. Recently, you have been asked about this review about the textbook depicting your family
Yeah.
in a bad light. Could you enlighten us about this, sir? Is it you're really calling for revision or a review?
No. What I was saying, this arose from a question on what is your comment on these cases that were filed against you by PCGG in 1986 onwards na that you have been winning.
So it's anchored on the recent court
on
decisions.
the several decisions that we have won.
Yeah.
So I answered. I said, of course, we have the benefit of knowing the truth. And that's why these decisions, these judgments, are not a surprise to us. But as I said, we have been accused of revisionism. The Marcoses have been accused of revising history. And I said, who is revising history when they still say in the textbooks of our children that this is what happened with the Marcoses? The judgment has proven that that is in fact not true. Why do we continue to have that in the textbook? Bakit tayo nagtuturo sa ating mga kabataan ng hindi totoo? Ngayon, that was strictly in the context of the Marcoses and the Marcos decisions. Now, let me generalize that more. Is it not a good thing that we should re-examine our textbooks now and remove or correct everything that is demonstrably mistaken, demonstrably wrong, demonstrably propaganda or a partisan political assessment or analysis or promotion of a particular partisan idea. So, kalimutan na natin yung politika. Factual na muna. Did these things happen on that date in that place? Yes or no? Did this person in fact say that? Yung mga ganun lang kasimple. Yung madaling i-verify.
Fact checking, yeah.
Oh, madaling i-verify. Oh, tapos in the context of my family, yung sinabi nila dyan sa text, naging totoo ba? Napatunayan nyo ba? Kung hindi, tanggalin natin. Lagay natin yung maliwanag na bakit natin maglilin lang yung mga kabataan nga natin, gusto natin turuan ng tama, hindi ba? So that's what that was all about. So let me go back. Forget the Marcoses. Forget the yellow, red, Aquino, kalimutan natin lahat yun. Let's go back to our textbooks and see what is in fact correct. Let us also see what is in fact not correct and correct it.
Correct. So, yung last year, sir, you have the court, there are at least 4 or 5 court decisions that went to your favor, right? What does this say to the other live cases that you have so far against the government, that the government has filed against you?
Well, it has always been our contention that there was no evidence. But bakit, despite the fact that there is no evidence, tumagal ng 30 years, 35 years na. And the reason is very clear. It was used as propaganda. Because they're saying, this is a Marcos, they're bad people, nagnakaw yan, tignan nyo, ang daming kaso. Yun ang propaganda dun. Masamang tao yan. Huwag nyo tulungan yan, huwag nyo suportan, huwag nyo iboto, dahil magnanakaw yan, tignan mo, ang daming kaso.
Basis dun sa...
And panalo namin yung kaso. Ano ngayon? Ang propaganda nila. So, it was really used for political propaganda. To hold it, always say, no, there's always that constant accusation. Now, that constant accusation is become part of history.
Na nailagay na rin sa mga...
When it is in fact, not so. Don't ask me, ask the court. So, that's where we stand.
How about the foreign court decisions? Parang parating iba yung...
Yeah, but you're talking about Filipino citizens. The allegations were made in the Philippines. Everything was done in the Philippines. Why will the Americans be the ones to judge us?
Yeah, why?
I don't know. Because that became national policy. Tanggalin si Marcos, make him weak so that he cannot come back, etc., etc. That was the entire
Game plan.
campaign that they did in 1986.
So, sir, what's your reaction? Kasi your critics would say because of the favorable decisions inyo ng korte as of late, na sinasabi na naggagamit daw yung close affiliation nyo with the president, na ginagamit yung influensya, na kaya doon na nanalo kayo sa mga kaso. Propaganda pa rin, sir, of course.
Ano pang gusto nyo gawin? You brought it to court. We won the case. What more do you want us to do?
Yeah, and it's
What more?
35 years.
35
after.
years. Oh, what? Ano pa? Ano pang? Oh, sige, well, you claim that it is our closeness to the president. No, and then what do you want us to do now? I don't believe that's true. It's wrong.
Yeah.
The president, I think everybody who watches the politics, you guys, the president hindi nakikialam talaga yan sa ano eh. Basta kanya yung corruption at saka yung war on drugs yan. Hindi niya kanya talaga yan. That's on his desk, those two things. But the other things like Supreme Court decisions, hindi nakikialam yan.
Sir, you can say this is the classic example of mema. Mema sabi lang yung mga kritiko.
Parang ganun. I don't really see how that would actually be true. If that were true, tapos na yung protesta ko. 2 years ago.
Yes.
Di ba? Kung nakialam ang Pangulo at sinabi niya, tapusin nyo na yan, gawin nyo ng Vice President si Bongbong, tapos na yan.
And he's openly
But
in support,
and then he says all of these things in
Mm.
public, but he doesn't do that. He doesn't go to
Yes.
the Chief Justice and say, tapusin nyo na yan in favor of Bongbong Marcos. Wala siyang ginagawang ganun. So, ba't niya gagawin dun sa kaso na that predates him since 1986? Hindi ba? No, that's just ano yung expression mo? Mema sabi?
Oh,
Mema.
mema.
Bago yun
Sabi.
May I plagiarize it? May I have your permission to plagiarize it?
Sir, widely used naman yun. So, you can
Okay.
use it anytime.
It does not require attribution.
So you mentioned about the leadership style o yung ano ni President Duterte. Lalo na yung sa war on drugs niya, it's highly criticized by mga political opponents. What do you say to this?
Well, I don't see. Well, first of all, do we agree that the drug problem, the amount of money, the amount of power that the syndicates, the drug lords exercise is wrong and is a problem, is a fundamental problem to the Philippines? If we can agree on that, then tell us what you think we should tell the president. Kung mali yung ginagawa niya, ano yung gagawin natin? Anong mas gusto niyong gawin? Pag binabaril ka na nung drug addict o pag binabaril ka na nung drug pusher, anong gagawin mo? Boss, walang ganyanan, di ba? And these people are violent. I mean, they murderous. So perhaps, I mean, in any all-out kind of campaign, there's always an element there's always the potential for abuse. And we are human beings, and it's the human condition na meron talaga dyan na hindi ginagawa yung hindi dapat gawin. And there's always that suspicion they're in fact actually involved in the drug trade and are killing off all the people who are witnesses that can put them in jail. So there's that element of that, and we cannot blame that. Although policeman yun, we cannot say that that's part of the government policy.
Yes.
Na pumapatay ng mga witness. So it's a problem. But he opened the fight against drugs, and I remember speaking to him even early on in his wala pang 1 year. Sabi ko, alam mo, kinikwento niya, what do you think? You know, this yung sa ano sinasabi ng tao. Sabi ko, nagulat pati ang ordinary na citizen na ganun pala kalala yung problema. Sabi niya, ako rin. Hindi ko akalain na ganito kalalim ang problema. And I think that's his reaction, because it's really a very serious problem. I mean, anybody who lives, especially when those of us who were in local government, who have a very good idea of what goes on at the ground level. Malaking problema talaga, because kung minsan wala nang sumusunod. Kay governor ka hindi na sumusunod sa'yo kasi boss nila yung boss nila yung ang laki ng pera eh.
Drug lord na.
Ang laki talaga ng pera, hindi ka makapag-compete kahit na manakot ka, kahit na ano ka, lahat. You will be suspended, ikakasuhan ko kayo, wala, laking pera. So it's a huge problem, and it's something that was allowed to spiral out of control in Noynoy's time. It wasn't this bad in GMA's time. It really went out of control in Aquino's time. And that's what he has to deal with. So, yeah, it's a tough problem. It's an all-out war. And you cannot differentiate anymore from the legal aspects of it and the violent aspects of it. It gets muddled. The
Perhaps,
first casualty of war is truth.
Yeah.
So we have to. I think that we have been generally successful. There have been abuses, but they cannot be attributed all to government forces. There have been abuses, but again, although they are wearing uniforms, that's not a government policy.
And what do you say to BP Lenis, if you just want to comment? BP Lenis, 1 out of 100
Yes,
grading
the
of
grade,
the war
yeah.
on drugs of President Duterte. Considering her 18 day stay
18 days stint.
And
with
she
the
said
ICAD.
it was enough for her to really assess the drug
Reassess,
situation.
yeah. Well, Unfortunately, we cannot take seriously her report because her report was only created to criticize the government and to make political points against Duterte. It is not to actually help anybody solve the drug problem. The statistics that she used were questionable, have been questioned before when other people use them, and are being questioned now when she uses them. But it is clear that the intent of the report is not to provide insight or a new perspective or a suggestion to improve what we are trying to do. It is merely to criticize the Duterte government and the president himself using all kinds of spurious information. Mema.
Nagamit yun na, sir.
Nagamit ko na kagad. Oh.
Pero sir, even Senate President Tito Soto said na maybe VP Robredo's advisors themselves fed her wrong info, parang intention.
Well, yeah, whatever it is, but it's old information that they have used before, that has been questioned before. So you really should be more careful. I mean, I'm very much a believer in empirical data, and maybe she should be more of that than just listen to people. Check into it and find out what's really happening. But that's it's a tough job. You cannot. I don't know how you can glean that much information from that job in 18 days. Yeah. It looks like that information that's put in her report, she already had in her mind before she even was appointed as co-chairman.
Fixed na. If you were given the chance, what would you have done as a head of the drugs campaign?
On the drug campaign? Well, the first thing that I was a little surprised with all the series of press conferences. I would study for 2 weeks first. I talk to everyone. Pa-briefing ako. Each department, each division will brief me. And then you go out to the countryside. You talk to the cops on the ground. What's really happening? Is this report true? Totoo ba ito? O linagay nyo lang to para mag-quota kayo. Sabihin nyo lang sa akin yung totoo. Hindi ka namin na naman. That's the way to do it. And then you find what's really the problem. Sino ba talaga mga loko rito? Sino ba talaga ang anin natin?
Opo. Yun nga din po yung lament ng ICAD was that instead of meeting with each cluster of the ICAD, puro...
Hindi, she never had a briefing.
Yeah.
What's the first thing? I have some ideas, but let's talk to the experts. Yeah. I'm not expert. I'll make myself into an expert. But until then, I have to keep my mouth quiet and just listen. You have to and I have some experience with uniformed services, so madali ko naman sila makausap. Punta mo sila. What part of the country is it the worst? Go there. Talk to the locals. They will lie to you. They will tell you the truth. But you have to be the one to assess all of that. Yeah. That's your job. Yeah. So that's what you have to do. And then you come out with some kind of determination. But, this is not
fully rely on what was fed to you.
This is not a simple problem. It's a very complicated. Kung simple lang, di tapos na yan.
Within the 6 months
sa pagkasigasig ni Presidente na labanan ng ang drugs, kung madali yan, matagal nang natapos yan. Kaya hindi pa natapos dahil mahirap na problema talaga yan.
At mula sa baba hanggang sa taas. Tama.
Yeah. And it's very hard to compete with the kind of money that's being thrown around. Mahirap
talaga. The President himself said, sabi niya, hindi ko akalain na ang kalaban ko mismo gobyerno ko.
Elements in the government. That was the legacy nga of the Aquino government na pinabayaan nila for this to just get worse and worse and worse and worse. I'm not saying that they were involved in the drug trade. I'm saying napabayaan nila. Napabayaan talaga. Kaya nagkaganyan.
So, moving on, sir, your plans for 2022. Do we see a presidential Bongbong Marcos?
Another Marcos in Malacanang.
This early.
This early is too early.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But any hint of any
No,
position?
I intend to run in the 2022 election, but I haven't decided what for. What for? I have plenty of options. I can do all kinds of things, but tignan natin. Mabilis ang politika dito. At saka nagbago ang politika sa Pilipinas ngayon with the era of Duterte. Things have changed. I think there's an element of that populist movement that we see around the world,
Right.
which I believe uh, would be in my favor because, as I said, nasa amin ang tao.
Tao,
So, but then but elections are won and lost according to many variables, not just one, not just the popular vote. Maraming ano yan. So we'll see how things develop. Sinong lalabas, sinong nag-ano. Sabi nga nung isang kaibigan ko nung lumabas, sabi ko, I'll run for 2020. Sabi niya, 2022, sabi, aga mo naman mag-declare. Wala naman ako dinideclare. Sinasabi ko lang, hindi pa ako magre-retire. Lalaban pa ako sa eleksyon.
Sir Edo, bagitin ko lang yung mga bumabati sa inyo, sir. BBM forever. Hashtag we
thank
will
you.
never give up. Good morning po, VP BBM.
Good morning.
Mabuhay ang Solid North.
Mabuhay
So,
kayo.
sir, yun,
Agbyag.
ang dami mong
Ay.
fans, sir, na nagko-comment sa ating live.
Ay, maraming salamat.
Sige.
Ay, mabuti naman at alam nyo, yan ang nagiging buhay nga namin dahil yan, yung ganyang klaseng suporta, yung nararamdaman yung pagmamahal ng mga supporter namin. Kaya nabubuhayan kami kahit kung minsan mahirap ang hinaharap namin. We are strengthened and become more committed pagka nakikita natin yung ating mga supporter. And it's always been our touchstone kami sa pamilya. See really what's happening. Kahit minumura ka na ng political establishment, tignan mo kung ano yung sinasabi ng tao.
Sa baba pa
Sa
rin.
baba.
Is that yun yung talaga magre-reflect, sir? What kind of...
But it's the only thing that really matters
Yeah.
in the end. Even if they do what they did to me, ninakaw yung halalan, they didn't steal it just from me. They stole it from these 14 plus million, whatever the number is, that voted for me. So, we will continue. We will continue with what we know to be correct and to be just and to be true.
Okay. In closing, sir, any further message sa mga kababayan natin,
supporters,
lalo
yes,
yung
sir.
yung mga tinamaan ng
Oo nga.
Taal eruption?
Oo.
Have any message, sir?
Mag-ingat po kayong lahat at alam natin at na dapat na yung ating mga evacuees ay sundan nyo po yung mga otoridad at nandyan sila para tulungan kayo. Kami naman na nag-aabang ay handa na kaming pumasok at pupunta na kami riyan siguro in the next few days, baka bukas or the day after, at magdadala na kami ng kung ano man ang maitutulong namin. And I suppose we are going to bring the usual relief goods. Ang nagbago lang doon sa listahan yung mask. Nakapag-order nga kami ng marami sa China.
Hindi naman. Directly from China.
Kasi mura yan.
Oh, hindi
Mura yan
na
sa China.
overpriced na
Katulad
dito
dito, sir.
Hindi na
50
bale,
pesos nagiging
ubos.
500.
ubos na rin.
Ubos
Nice.
talaga. Ubos talaga. So anyway, nagpasok kami and that's what we will be bringing as soon as possible. At mag-ingat ba lang po kayo at nag-aalala pa kami na baka hindi pa tapos ang pagsabog ng bulkan. So mag-ingat po kayo at kung anong maitutulong namin gagawin namin para sa darating na ilang araw na ilang linggo para naman maging mas magaang ang problema ninyo dahil sa pagsabog ng bulkan. Ang aking laging masasabi, lahat ng mga pangyayari, ng mga lindol, ng mga bagyo ay napakabait talaga ng Pilipino. Dahil yung mga kaibigan natin, dati sinasabi ko, isang kalabit lang, nandyan na, ready sila mag-donate. Ngayon, hindi ko na kinakalabit, sila nang tumatawag. Anong kailangan mo? Anong kailangan ninyo? Ano yung may tutulong natin? In fact, the mass, we got them from a Chinese friend
Okay.
na lumapit. Meron akong
So,
source,
donation yan,
kaibigan ko, yung nagsasource, ganyan. So sabi ko, sige, pagpadala ka ng ilang libo kasi kailangan na kailangan. So we will get that. So again, I pagpapasalamat na nagpapasalamat ako in behalf ng mga naging biktima ng pagputok ng Taal volcano. Papasalamat ako sa lahat, lalo na yung ating mga kapwa Pilipino na nakita na nahihirapan ng kanilang mga kababayan talagang handang-handang tumulong. Kung wala yan, ay hindi natin magagawa yung hindi natin maibibigay yung mga pangangailangan ng ating mga kababayan. So thank you for that. Keep it coming. Huwag po kayo magsawa sa pagtulong sa atin.
And sir, parting words to your supporters, yung talagang BBM forever.
Ay nako, maraming salamat sa lahat ng mga comment ninyo at maraming salamat sa inyong walang sawa na pagsuporta at pagmahal hindi lamang sa akin kundi sa buong pamilyang Marcos. Kayo po ang mga bumubuhay sa amin at para ipagpatuloy ang ating linalaban na katarungan at para sa katotohanan. Maraming salamat sa inyo. Mabuhay kayo.
And with that, that concludes another episode of the Daily Tribune Straight Talk. Once again, thank you, Senator Marcos. And of course, tune in again next time for another episode. Good day, everybody.